Women podcast. For your career and your life, no matter what business you're in.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Northern Power Women podcast. I am Simone Roche and she is, no, not Sam Walker. It's Adele Mitchinson, the creative director at VentureStream and most importantly, self-proclaimed proud Northern lass. And that is in big capitals, and author of Positive Baby Book. And we'll come to that in a second. We're here to talk about life, career, and everything in between. Adele, how are you? It's been forever.
Good morning, Simone. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm grand. I've got beautiful kind of blue, cloudy-ish skies out the window. And, that's my weather update for the week, because always like a bit of a weather update. How's it even like over in beautiful Newcastle Gateshead?
Well, we've got a lovely hue of grey going on this morning. So it's lovely and dull, but not a chance with a little bit of sunshine later on.
Excellent. And so we met, oh my gosh, years ago. I got this wonderful email that said, hello, really like what you're doing. How can I get involved? And here we go. I've got these things that I do. I've had a great career. I've had lots of opportunities and I now want to pay it forward and to support things that I really believe in. And conversation went from there, really. Why did you send that email? Of which I was super grateful, because you became our Newcastle ambassador, really helped us sort of build the community over in the Northeast, which has always opened its doors and welcomed the Northern Power Women massive in.
I'm a great believer in when you see something or somebody doing something great, just drop them a message. Just say, how well they're doing. You think they're cool. You like what they're like their drawings. We'll come on to that later on. Their illustrations, whatever it is, whatever you want to champion. Send a little bit of joy in an email. There's no harm in that at all. Something might become of it. Something might not become of it. But if you could pass on a little bit of goodwill during the day, then why not? Why not send that? Northern Power Women for me, it was an absolute door opener. Well, I continue to have so many opportunities, very much like this morning, to get involved and do things and to really support people, and just chatting and having those conversations is so important.
I know, and it was, and it started off, I remember you wrote this almost, these are the things I can do. It's almost like a little job description, if you like, wasn't it? And you built our first grown-up website. The first one I built, I think it was definitely like by numbers on a Wix website. And do you remember it had about 4,000 million pages in it? And I remember you looked at it and you were like, oh my God. And you professionalized us. You brought our brand up to date. And you did some of the best colouring in, as you call it.
Yeah, absolutely. Colouring in within the lines wherever possible, but, creative challenges along the way. The Northern Power Women website, it sounds like, it was an absolutely huge opportunity for myself. It was such a wonderful experience to be able to get involved. But equally, it was such a great opportunity for me to start, spreading my wings and trying different things and learning different aspects of creative business. And it was a fantastic opportunity. We got to amplify voices. We got to showcase role models. We got to speak to people. I was heavily involved with the awards. I got to speak to some phenomenal women that I can now proudly call some of them my friends. These were really fantastic opportunities. And, it was done by simply just sending an email. And how fantastic is that all you need to do is to open your own doors, is to drop an email every now and again.
And it was a standout. I remember it was January, and I get lots and lots of emails saying, how can I get involved? What can I do? And there's always that challenge, because you don't want to waste people's time. This was very much at the period where I was totally on my own in the world of Northern Power Women, just running along a great rate of knots, darting up and down, in and out of different train stations and such like. And I remember there was just something in it. There was something about the authenticity of how you wrote and what you wanted to do that really impacted on me, because this was like my child, or this is my child, Northern Power Women. It's something that I am, day on day, 5.5 years later, still, driven to try and amplify and showcase and accelerate gender equality. We're still doing it, and innovating as we go. So it was a big thing. It's not about letting someone in. It's about having the time to kind of think about how someone can help you.
Yeah, it's the trust aspect of somebody leading the way and being able to support you in a way that you probably didn't realize you needed to be supported in the first place. So it's just about finding the person, and we called it serendipity at the time. That meeting of two minds that just happened to be at the right place, the right time. And that's why I'm a great believer of being able to just put yourself out there. Like, there's no shame in just being able to say, this is what I can do, this is what I can't do. I think I could be of use to you, or I feel like I could, be of some benefit. When I first started my career, and when I was still back in uni, what I used to do, and rightly or wrongly, I used to try and connect with businesses that I really wanted to work with. I hadn't a lot to offer at this stage other than my time and my dedication. And what I used to do is I used to find all their email addresses and write them loads of emails. And sometimes I didn't know who they were, and I would just research and find out a little bit about them and get in touch and trying to reach out. And I know what this can, I get emails all the time, part of what I do for the Young Creative Council. Sometimes you're not able to help everyone, but I think it's having the time to respond to those people and say, thank you for getting in touch. Like, I realize it's difficult to put yourself out there. So just as equal as it is to receive that email, it's the response that you get from that as well. And we had, umpteen calls back and forth, and that has established that relationship. And I think it was over months as well. So it's not about just going for something and expecting it to happen. It takes little tiny steps along the way to get to where we are now. So now it's first thing in the morning, we're doing a podcast, and this is something I probably couldn't have dreamed about 4, 5, 6 years ago.
But do you know, all of those top tips are fantastic. We have a Northern Power Futures podcast. Season 7 has just come out last week. And, that is all about taking conversations and taking the concerns of young people, actually, and people in their early careers, and giving them sort of top tips, so to speak. So I think actually I feel like I need to bottle some of that, because one of the, what happens if I don't get the response from LinkedIn and stuff like that? So we think we need to get you back on the Northern Power Futures podcast. But I want to jump into the book, Positive Baby. Now, you can all see it. Imagine here, everyone, Adele is holding that book up as we're on our Zoom podcast recording this morning. Tell us about the book and why you decided to write this, because it's beautiful inside and out.
Yes, so the whole premise behind Positive Baby came from, and picture this, it's a cold winter's night. Charlotte's finally gone to bed, and I'm sitting, and I've got a bit of time to just sit and watch telly and just contemplate my own navel. But this idea came from other parents talking to have different conversations. And I had a concept about being able to establish good mental health from day one. So how do we do that? We talk about things like core beliefs, which is where I am, my experience stops. So I spoke to child psychologists about this and what their thoughts about, how do you shape the mind of a child? They're very perceptive about what you're doing. I used to talk to Charlotte from day dot, I'm changing your nappy now. I'm going to give you a drink. Would you like that? You have these conversations with them, and it helps their development. And you think that it's not doing anything at all, but it's not. It's how they engage with things. So Positive Baby was written as a bunch of affirmations. So affirmations in themselves sound a little bit woolly, but what it is a two-way mental health conversation between you and your child. So you talk about instilling these positive core beliefs in them from an early age, from the day that they're born. You can sit and read this book, but it also has a positive effect on you. So whether it's the long cold nights, whether it's the fact that, you might be a single parent, you might be on your own, you might be in the middle of lockdown, your back and forth with friends is restricted, your baby groups are restricted. So this book is supposed to give you and your baby a little bit of comfort, a little bit of reassurance. And I think it was Jane, another Northern Power Women ambassador, that said, parent burnout is real and it's really hard. And if you get to the end of the day and you're about to read a book, sometimes it's just, a little bit nice to have a little bit of support. And that's what Positive Baby is. The set of affirmations that you can sit and read your child, and you can say these things out loud, and you can really embody those, not for your child, but for yourself as well. So that's where it started from. And I was very, very fortunate. I launched it, a crowdfunder, and I thought, I'm just going to see how it goes. I'm going to see whether this is a viable idea, if people buy into it, if people are interested in it. And it really took off. I was so, so grateful for the response that it had. I think, Simone, you are my huge backer as well. Having that support and the community around you to do something like this, because I think, with the pandemic, it has come the opportunity to be able to really showcase this as well, and why it's important, because it's not just the mental health of your child. It's not about the mental health of yourself. It's about everybody around you. And it's so important to keep checking in.
So this is amazing. So you're now an entrepreneur, if you like, and so tell us, when is the book out? Where is it available from? This is absolutely a perfect Christmas gift. Today is Cyber Monday. No better time to buy, Adele.
Absolutely. So it's available to buy and pre-order on positivebabyandbeyond.co.uk. We have lots of books to give away, signed and unsigned. So it's up to you. It is a perfect gift for new parents, for children of a young age, or something beautiful just to put on your library shelf, because each page has been designed by an illustrator, a creator from across the UK and Ireland, that are completely unique. So it's not just an illustration of all the way through and it's the same sort of style. Each page is completely unique, much like the affirmation themselves. So they can be read in isolation, they can be enjoyed in isolation, or they can be read as a full book. So it's a really beautiful piece of art, if you like. Somebody once said it was like putting something nice as a coffee table book on your dining room table. So yeah, absolutely, it's not just a book it's something that everybody can enjoy, basically.
Well, we already have a book, but we're going to purchase 5 books from you as well, Adele, to support our small business community. But we are going to buy them to gift. So we want to buy them to pay it forward. So if you would like one of these books, then please do get in touch, because as I say, we want to make sure that they are accessible. So 5 of those books, please send it. We'll purchase them online and we will gift them on, Adele. So because it's just really important, and they're so beautiful as well, like you say.
Thank you so much. That's very kind.
And this leads us on to, it is Cyber Monday. Last week was Black Friday. We're coming out of lockdown and into tiers later on this week. But a recent report from Kantar found that 65% of UK consumers believe that local shops are important to the community. And we put a poll out last week asking people where they were going to buy, whether it be online, whether it be high street shops, or whether it be a friend's business. And we got a real mix, 26% from friends, 31% from high street shops, and 43% from the online businesses. But this whole, I've become even more obsessed. We know in our community, we've got the most amazing, talented individuals, including yourself, Adele, who, now author and bookmaker, book curator, I would call it. I think it's really important. And we talked about the awards. We've got the fabulous Gemma Truman, who is this glass blower and glass artist extraordinaire, makes our trophies and makes artwork. So we want to high five those phenomenal entrepreneur role models, don't we, as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, again, though, to segue back to the book in terms of finding those illustrators, they've all got businesses of their own, whether they're creating gift cards, prints. One really very talented family, Gary Boyd and his wife, he does illustrations that are animated, that are phenomenal. And his wife, Laura, is a ceramic, so she makes beautiful mugs and plates. And, what a talented family that must be. But, these are the people that, we have a habit, and we were getting used to our Amazon next day deliveries, and I deep down I think there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I think it's in our nature to want things quickly and what have you, but to take a step back, learn what we learned from the pandemic, and look at these businesses. Just to name drop another couple, Black and
Name
Beech.
Drop all the way. Get all the names.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, honestly, I would be on for hours. I was very privileged to be able to set up a company years ago called That's Champion Pet, which was, the whole premise was about supporting northern business and across all the different areas of the north, including Liverpool and Manchester, Leeds, Newcastle. And those businesses, and speaking to those people, a lot of the time, it's one person, 2 people making these fantastic products. So when that order came through, it was genuinely that person. They say that they do a jig, they say they do a happy dance, and they genuinely do, because someone believes in their dream. You talk about imposter syndrome, you talk about whether I can really do this. They're doing it to put food on the table. There's a fantastic woman who does motherhood and feminism really well, which is Black and Beech. She fantastic woman, really, really like down to earth, really showcases everything that is beautiful about creation, but also her products. I think that's fantastic. If you can combine motherhood and feminism anywhere, is brilliant. There's so many fantastic brands. And as well, because I'm really, really passionate about local, we are so gifted, and people have really evolved during the pandemic to be able to provide different services that they wouldn't be able to. So if you think about all your fantastic pubs and restaurants that have gone to takeaway, we have some amazing ones just here in Wickham for Peddling Squares. I've got to give them a mention, the brilliant breakfasts and things. Yellow Teapot, just a cafe down the road, and they produce fantastic afternoon teas. So these are just, think about the businesses around you, think how they've had to evolve and how they've had to change, and, give them a break this Christmas and order a couple of things from them, because it would make such a huge difference.
100%. And I think that innovation is key. I was, I'll name drop, I was in number 10 last week virtually. Talking about the Leveling Up report, talking as a follow-up to the meeting that I'd had earlier in January this year. And I was talking about the power of our power women and our power futures, but talking about the way that the innovation, how we're innovating through, we know there's challenges, we know there's bags of challenges, but we have to find hope, don't we? And I think to innovate, Jane Moore, who's one of our Northern Power Women judges as well, she's like, oh, the trouble is that not all small makers can afford the likes of Etsy with the commission, even though it's fantastic. She's developed makeitgiftit.co.uk, offering it for free of any fees for the next 3 months, because she wants to create a support bubble for makers who need to find appreciators. I love that, finding appreciators. So if you're in that space where you're struggling with where to go next or where to take that next step, that might be worth a go as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like, Jane, who you talked about, our Lancaster ambassador, Jane Dalton, Groundswell Innovation, she talked about, when we asked the poll, she was like, all of the above. I'm going to shop with all of the above. There's so much going on at grassroots level around in Lancaster, totally local, Morecambe Bay on Facebook, plus ongoing work by Lancaster and the Lancaster Bid. So I think it's brilliant to hear. So please keep that conversation going. Let's get people filling up their shopping baskets on your online shops, because like Adele says, you're putting food on someone's table. You're putting confidence in people's day to day, and you're lifting people up.
Absolutely. And just to quickly finish on that, around, it's been a difficult year for lots of people, and sometimes you don't have the cash to invest, or, you were looking at pennies this year. So we need to be conscious of that. But, sometimes, the greatest thing you can do is to share an idea, to share a post, to share a friend's business. That can be such a huge uplift for not just their belief in their business, but also getting sales through the doors. So if you don't have the cash to spend your time to share and to pass that, pay it forward and put it out into the world.
Exactly as you said at the start of this, send somebody an email and say that you like what they've done, or send them an email to say you want to get involved, and then lo and behold, you never know what can happen. This leads us on beautifully to this week's life lessons. We love the life lessons. And this week we've got Bernadine Tay. Bernadine is the founder of fine and award-winning tea brand Quinteassential. She's a tea consultant. And I love the fact that she was appointed the global tea curator for Wedgwood. So she literally makes tea for China. Sorry, I always laugh at my own stuff. It's ridiculous. I need to seriously get out more. But here are Bernadine's life lessons.
Hi, my name is Bernadine Tay, and I'm the founder and tea designer at Quinteassential Fine Teas. So my first question is, when have you faced imposter syndrome and what did you do about it? Well, I feel comfortable calling myself a tea designer now after 10 years of successfully designing unique and award-winning tea blends for companies all over the world. But everyone has to begin somewhere, and when I first called myself a tea designer, I knew I was so passionate about telling stories with tea, but had absolutely no track record. And I felt, what if I could not do it? But the solution is simple. Fake it till you make it. It really felt like I was pretending at first, but until my first award win and then the commissions came, I began to really feel like this was who I was meant to be. Question number 2. What's one piece of advice that has really stuck with you? Now, over the past 10 years, since I've been in business, I've found that the only consistent, sustainable way to grow anything is to start small. What was holding me back before was this idea that a lot of us think that, you've got to go big or go home. And it's because we live in an aspiration-driven culture that is rooted, unfortunately, in instant gratification. So we find it hard, or I did anyway, to accept incremental progress. But this is the thing I've learned, is just one tiny action, one small bite might feel insignificant at first, but it then allows you to gain the momentum you need to slowly ramp up to different challenges and achieve a faster progress. Before you know it, you would have achieved that big dream that you wanted. Now, the third question is, tell us about a mistake and the lesson it taught you. A big thing, because of this wanting to move fast, quickly, I was so focused on achieving my goal and I totally neglected my health. At some point, I suffered quite a bad breakdown and then realized that without health, you can't achieve anything. So I make sure I take care of myself now and ensure that I can sustain and, build up my energy to give it to my passions. Number 4, when have you taken a risk and what happened? The biggest risk I've taken is following my dream. And what I've come out of it is I'm living a fantastic life because I'm doing what I love. Number 5, what advice would you pass on to someone starting their career today? For me, the best thing I can tell you is everything adds to your mountain of value. Don't be scared to explore new opportunities, because not only do you not know where they might lead, but as life is a journey, you should enjoy the ride and don't focus too much on the destination. Believe me, life has a wonderful way of revealing itself if you trust the process.
Wasn't she amazing? We talk about imposter syndrome so much on this podcast, but I think, and so smart, so good advice. What did you take away from that, Adele?
Oh, honestly, it was absolutely phenomenal. When I listened back to that, because I had to listen to it a few times, it was just brilliant. But one of the things that I believe in as well is don't just keep looking at the end goal. Don't just look at the big pot at the end. Look at, the little tiny steps and have trust and have faith that things are supposed to go the way they are, much like they are this morning, much like our serendipity relationship grows and develops. It's about having faith in the way that things are going to work out.
Absolutely, that total belief. So thank you. Before we let you run off into the northeast sunset or sunrise, whatever we are this morning, anything funny happened to you over lockdown? You must have had one of those Zoom moments or whatever. There's plenty of them around.
Oh, well, you say that, Simone, but I've been very fortunate with having Charlotte at home, and she's been partaking in a lot of conversations. I still feed Charlotte. We're getting to that stage where now she can string a couple of sentences together, which is fantastic because she can tell me when she wants a drink. She can tell me when she wants it on the TV. But she can also say in the middle of a call, boobies, which is highly distracting and having very difficult to explain to most people why my daughter is now shouting that. So yeah, thank you very much for my clients for their appreciation and their patience through lockdown, for their understanding for boobies.
But you know what you've done? It's because of all that positive affirmation. You've given her the confidence to use that amplifier voice.
She does what she wants.
And
she's a strong, independent woman.
I do believe the first time you were on a Northern Power Women podcast panel, I think you used the phrase, we were talking about small business, and I think you talked about willy warmers. Just going to leave it there. Might have to track back. We'll put the episode in the show notes. But Adele, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for sending that email. Thank you for being kind. And thank you for being my co-pilot this morning.
You are so welcome. Thank you very much for having me. Take care, everybody. Have a great week.
So it's literally 1 week to go until our NPW virtual cheers on the 7th of December. Join us on Twitter, 6 p.m. Adele will be there with a brew or a stotty or a Nuki Brown. Who knows? So come along, bring a glass, bring a cup of tea, whatever you like. So thanks so much for listening. I'll be back next week with Sam and her probably reams of Black Friday shopping and leftover vegan roast dinner or whatever. But until then, this has been the Northern Power Women podcast. I'm Simone Roche, and the Northern Power Women podcast is a What Goes On media production.